Welcome back in here inside the Pablo here. We have a special podcast with 559 champions here, and like we start every podcast with a bioverse, and today's bioverse led us to Philippians 4:19. And this same God who takes care of me will supply all your needs from his glorious riches, which have been given to us in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:19. And with that being said, I'm with
Matthew Vargas.
And Robert Barrios.
All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for stopping in. Kind of like a little funny how we met the other day, right? I was at Madera Martial Arts, or shout out to Madera Martial Arts for having us out there, and you guys were out there training. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of like new to the crowd, right? It was a lot of people out there, a lot of fighters. I got to actually meet a lot of 559 guys, A1 guys, and just up and comers, right? And everyone was just so kind. And I remember like talking to some of the fighters, and they're like, "Hey, that's the 135-pound champ for 559. Hey, that's the heavyweight champ for 559. So kind of jumping in, I got to meet you guys, and thank you guys for coming on such short notice. Kind of a quick question to jump in the podcast. Would you guys ever take a fight that quick on that quick notice, like a 3-day notice?
Yes, you have to be ready for that. And it's the fight game. Opportunities arise, and you just got to be ready to take the chance.
What about you, Robert?
Oh, definitely.
All
as
right,
long as I'm in shape, I'm trying to stay in shape.
Well, we'll jump right in, right? So tell us about yourself. We'll start with you, Matt. Just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself out there to everybody out there, and just kind of let them know who you are.
Well, by day, I'm a refrigeration technician over there in Visalia, and then my night job is I'm a fighter. Eventually, I want to quit my full-time job and fight fully, but for the time being, this job is supplementing my nighttime job, so that's where I'm at right now in life.
Okay. What about you, Rob?
For me, by day, I'm a single father of 4. I'm also a barber / cosmetologist. And then, in the evenings, I fight, and then I just recently started bouncing too. So.
Okay, it's like a bouncer, like at a nightclub, like security, like a bar.
Like a little local bar. Could do 2 different local bars.
Yeah, nobody messes with them there. I go in there, and I feel protected.
Yeah, well, I mean, okay, we're going to talk a little about the bouncer here. Obviously, Matt, you have yours at your gym, but you have the same 559 belt right here.
Shout out, Chris.
And then they have that one right there. So kind of explain what that one is. That one's like pretty much the baddest man in the state, right?
I'd like to think so, yeah.
So it's more like it's the heavyweight. Well, can you explain to us what is that belt right there in the corner?
That's just, basically saying you're the best amateur in the state at your weight class. Number 1.
Awesome. Well, we'll jump into the next question. So kind of give us your guys' journey. Like, obviously, we talked a little bit about what you guys do, right? But how did you guys get into fighting? And we'll start with you.
With me, so about a year ago, went through, a little bit of a rough patch, divorce and, just life, I guess. And I went and took that and started fighting. I started training. Walked into the gym really heavy. I was about 350 pounds at the time. And it was just first it was just to lose weight. But, once it started to come off, then I really, wanted to challenge myself. And that's when I decided to take my first fight. And I didn't expect it to go as well as it's gone lately. And, I've fallen in love with it lately. And, just the training, the whole little fight game. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, kind of. Well, I'll touch on that now that I, got to meet you guys today at Madera, right? And following you guys on social media. I did see one of your posts. You like you said, you came in pretty heavy, right? 350.
Yeah.
And I noticed that you had a text message between your coach, and you're like, "Well, when can I fight?" And then he's like, "Oh, you're serious?" And you're like, "Yeah." So kind of like let us know when you say this all started like within a year, right? You haven't even been. I think you barely hit a year. You said you started July of 24.
Yeah, so I started training officially at Ochoa the last week of June, and I finished out the week, and then I officially started training there in July. But like I said, in the beginning, it was just for, fitness and
for health.
But September 5th, I got down to, I think, 309 from 350. And so it fell off really fast. I was really consistent. And then I kind of locked in on my diet, and then I was already weightlifting and everything. I text my coach about, what's the weight limit for heavyweights. And that's when I told you, I want to challenge myself. I had a goal, and I told him by the end of the year, I can make that weight class. And then so, once he's told me yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do it. So I locked in, and, I haven't looked back since.
Yeah, and you've had 4 fights up to this point, right?
Yeah, all of them have been in 2025.
And then so in September 27th, by the way, you guys will both be defending your titles, right?
Yep.
And we'll go into you, Matt. So like, how did you kind of jump into your journey? I mean, obviously we got to hear Rob's here, but how did you kind of, you being in the refrigeration game and said, hey, I'm going to be a fighter?
I actually grew up wrestling.
Okay.
And so I had some meniscus issues going on in high school, so I stopped. And that was honestly one of my biggest regrets. I should have never stopped. I just thought it was a safer option. But as time passed, I was like, I still had that itch to compete. And that really never left. And I had a couple of buddies that were fighting at the time, and I kind of got inspired to fight. And also was dealing with just things going on in life. And I felt like fighting was giving me the opportunity to kind of release just tension that I was carrying, and provided me an outlet. And I just dove in head first, and I haven't looked back since.
And you've also had 4 fights, right?
Yeah.
So on September 27th, I believe it's 559 117.
Yeah.
You guys will both be. You're going to be the main event, and you're going to be the third fight.
Third, yeah.
And you guys are both defending your titles.
Yeah.
And it'll be your first title defense.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yeah. And then the kind of crazy part, kind of talking a little bit off camera, you guys are pretty much like big brother, little brother.
Yeah.
Right.
I took him under my wing.
And it's kind of we'll kind of talk a little bit about how you guys met. So I mean, knowing that you came in about July and you were actually in the
I was at Ochoa
at the time, and then so that's how you guys initially met.
Uh-huh.
And then were you guys always neighbors?
At the time, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, my house was just a little further away, but now we're like right around the corner.
Super close.
But,
Yeah.
yeah.
So big brother, little brother, and neighbors, and now you guys are champs, and now you guys are fighting 117.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to call Hollywood up, man. This is a movie.
We also won our titles on the same card as well.
Wow. So you won your titles on the same card, and now you're defending on the same card.
Yes.
Yep.
Man, it's getting better and better. I can't wait to kind of go deeper in this podcast. Yeah. But okay, and now we're gonna jump in. But how did you guys get into 559? We'll start with you, Matt. Like, how did 559 even come? Like, so, and the reason I asked this is I was telling you guys a little bit off camera too. Like, I asked generally like a fan, right? You guys know, like, I'm new to this and very blessed to be working with 559 and just all the different fight companies that are taking us on and us getting to know the fighters. Like you saw that day when we met at Madera, it was kind of just like, hey, boom, 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 and it just kind of happened, right? Mm-hmm. But do you have to like request to get into 559? Is it something that you have to get in the gym first and then the coach gets you in, or how do you get in like to a 559?
I think you just sign up online, to be honest with you. But Jacob is really good friends with the owner of 559.
Okay.
So my first fight was with Ochoa.
And Jacob is the
he's the coach at Ochoa.
Okay, got it.
And so he has the connects, and he was like, hey, do you want to fight in December of 2023? And I had been training for a little bit. And I was like, yeah, run it. And yeah, that's pretty much how you get started in 559 fights. You kind of just have the connects,
Okay. And then it's kind of the same for you then. When you jumped into the gym, started training, you're like, hey, I'm ready. And then you got your first fight and then kind of just went from there?
Actually, I was supposed to have my first one at VFS at Table Mountain.
Okay.
It was supposed to be in November. But
of 24?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they ended up pulling the fight because I don't know if the guy didn't show up or whatever. I don't really know. But
yeah.
I remember I weighed in and everything. Got the call from my coach around I think it was 6 or 7 p.m. Later that day. He's like, hey, fortunately they pulled your fight. And so I was bummed out and told him when's the next one that they have available? And he goes, they want you to fight the guy that pulled out on the next card. I don't know when it was exactly. Or you can go 559. I was like, let's go 559. And I've really, grown to like 559 fights as well. It's very well organized, very well ran.
Yeah, no, same here. I mean, like I said, you guys will be September 27th. Once again, we're going to have the 559 117 where we'll have both these gentlemen defending their titles. We did our first event at 116. With Cisco Hurtado headlining and with Isaiah Walls. We podcasted both of them. And I kind of learned a little bit. Like I was telling you guys, when I had them come on, it just was meet and then boom, podcast. Unfortunately for both of them, and they were great just like you guys, but it's always good to meet prior, right? And then do a little pre-interview and then come and do the interview, because then it gives you a little bit of an idea of what we're going to talk about, a little bit of idea of what we're trying to show everybody out there. So with just that being said, let's get to know you guys now, right? So what other hobbies do you guys have besides being, you know, a refrigerator technician and a hairstylist? Like, what are some of the hobbies that you guys both enjoy? And we'll start with you, Matt. Like, what are some things that you kind of like to do outside of the fight game?
I like eating. I like reviewing food. I know one day I'm gonna get paid to review food, so I've been posting about that, looking for the best taco shop around in the area. And I also like pool. Me and Blazer go play pool up pretty often.
So you're a food reviewer.
Yeah.
And how long you been doing that?
Man, it's been started recently, but I've always had a passion for that. Like I said, I grew up watching like diners, drive-ins, and dives, and you know, Man versus Food and things like that.
Oh yeah,
I was like, these guys are getting paid to go eat. I was like, I want to get paid to go eat. You know, I love food, and so I'm gonna start that journey, see where it takes me.
So where can we find you as far as social media to see where you do your reviews?
Matthew __ Vargas. I think it's 2 underscores.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. We'll make sure that we put it on our thing so we could go out there and check you out when we want to look for a good taco shop or just somewhere good to eat, right? Because you guys come from Hanford,
Yes, sir.
but you guys are mainly like in the more Visalia area, but you also do Fresno.
Yeah. Oh, for work. So work, I go pretty much everywhere, and then yeah. So anywhere I see a spot, I'm like, that looks kind of good. I'll go and check it out and give it a review.
And you know what's kind of good about food reviews is I can honestly sit here and say, like, when I first started getting into social media, you know, like I worked in law enforcement prior, right? So I didn't really have social media like that. Have you guys heard of Mikey the Food Guy?
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, so I started going off of his reviews, man, and I kind of was like, oh, and there was like a little hidden gem, and maybe I guys, both you guys, or maybe down the road off camera, you could show me. He did a review one day about like a little spot, and they did like Chinese food, and it's in Visalia, dude. It looked really good, but
Yeah, that guy knows a bunch of good spots. There's a couple other guys, but yeah, I want to do that.
okay, all right. Yeah. And what about you? I'm gonna go into the next one. I was gonna call you Rob, but we'll talk about nicknames next on the next one. But
Okay.
What about you? What little hobbies do you have?
Well, kind of think everyone knows I like to eat, you know, being the heavyweight. But
Well, no, not really, because remember 350 down to being in shape now, so it's like you know, you probably gotten a little bit stricter on the diet too.
Oh yeah, I've gotten strict, but you know, I still like to enjoy myself.
For sure.
You know, get a little reward every once in a while, especially going out with the kids. So for me, you know, with my kids, on, you know, free time and everything, I really like to take them out, you know, to do things, amusement parks, regular parks. We enjoy going to the movies. I just took them to see Demon Slayer the other day. That was a fun one. And then I like to go play pool, bowling, you know, just a lot of family oriented things.
And you said pool too.
Yeah, but he's all right at pool.
Are you guys little sharks or what, man?
Yeah. We're actually gonna go pro. We're gonna run duos on some people. We've been talking about it.
For real?
Yeah, that's another thing we want to do. You know,
All right, well, everyone out there knows now not to play pool with you guys. He messed up, dude. You could have got some people to go out there and play, and you actually could have had
Run up
somebody.
some money.
You know what I'm saying? But it's all good. Okay, so pool, and you said you had 4 kids. How old are your children?
They're 6, 7, and then I have a 3 and a 2-year-old that at the end of the year will be 4 and 3.
4 and 3. Got it, man.
They're in little pairs. You know?
Yeah, and you got them real young right now too. Yeah. So that's kind of cool, you know. And then Matt, no kids yet.
No kids. No.
Okay, so just reviews for now.
Just food reviews.
All right, so refrigeration, fights, and reviews.
Exactly.
I like it.
That's all I'm about. And training every day.
There you go. Okay, so now let's kind of like jump into nicknames here. So you go off of, what's your nickname?
Tequila Vargas, MTV.
So kind of Must-See TV. So how did that happen? Like, how did you get the nickname Tequila?
I was out with my teammates after fights, and my buddy Carlos, shout out, that's my barber too.
Okay,
that's my
shout out
Carlos. I walk to the building, and he's like, "Hey, Tequila Vargas, what's up?" Because he knows tequila's my favorite drink.
Okay,
pineapple tequila is my go-to.
Pineapple tequila.
And I said that in my head, Tequila Vargas. So I was like, that kind of has a nice ring to it. And then Matthew, so MTV. I was like, dude, that's nice. So I ran it by a couple of my homies, a couple of my teammates, and they're like, that's clean. And so, yeah, now I'm running with it.
Okay. And then, Rob, what's your nickname right now, or what do you have right now?
So right now, it's just my middle name. My middle name is Blaza, but everyone, family, friends, and all that call me Blaza. But this guy's been hounding me to go by Brother Bear.
He's got like 12 different bear tattoos. He's got to be called Brother Bear.
Okay, so we're gonna inside the Pawalu exclusive here. Are we gonna start calling your nickname gonna be Brother Bear, or we're gonna stick to Blaza for now?
I'm thinking about it. I don't know. Because you know, I don't know what it is. I'm just nervous to switch it up. Maybe who knows? It is a cool little nickname.
Okay, Matt, we gotta try to get him to
I like it. I think everyone else will like it. I think it's clean, matches the tattoos.
So it'll be Robert Brother Bear Barrios.
Bro, that's fresh.
Right. I mean, I'm just saying when we're out there and we throw this out there, we'll see how people hit the comments and let us know. But it does have a little ring to it.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Brother Bear Barrios.
Yes, sir.
Matt Tequila Vargas, MTV. Mm-hmm. And then I liked how you referenced that because you're young. I don't even know if you remember MTV days.
Yep.
Is MTV still even in like that? I mean,
I don't even know. I think that was a program that had a bully beatdown, no?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. They're known for like their music videos, obviously, back in the day.
I remember that.
But okay, now kind of just jumping back into the fight. So September 27th, it's your guys' first title defense. Like, kind of let us know, like, obviously training every day. I saw you guys training in Madera. That's how we met. Mm-hmm. But kind of like, what do you guys do to prepare yourself like for an upcoming fight? Now, I mean, we're pretty much 2 weeks away from the event here, right?
Sure.
So I mean, we're getting close. Obviously, you guys are in camp right now. Mm-hmm. So how long does a camp normally go for? And we'll start with you, Brother Bear.
I don't know. It's usually like 6 to 8 weeks, you'd say.
Yeah, honestly, depends. Like you were saying earlier, it could be on a week's notice, a couple of days' notice. You never know, so it's always important to be ready. But
in this one, obviously, it's been a normal camp.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So about 8 weeks, 6 weeks. I've been, preparing. Monday, Wednesday, Friday are my lifting days. Plus, over at Ochoa, we do a lot of sparring there. Getting ready. We prepare to fight. So that's what we do in there. We spar a lot. And then my Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, my most recent sponsors, they've been helping me out. So Just Lift Gym, I go and I box there. I also got Lifting Lifted.
Okay.
Out of 559, they sponsored me, and I do a lot of mobility, flexibility, and explosive movements out of there. Really nice, it's different. It's a different type of training that I'm not used to. I got really tight hips and try to loosen those up.
For sure.
And then, jiu-jitsu here and there as well. With Elite, they're also out of our gym too. Elite ex Ochoa.
Nice.
Yeah, and then some wrestling sprinkled in too at the college.
Okay. And then you, Matt? I'm
training 2 times a day, whether it's strength and conditioning or cardio sessions, and then my MMA. Grappling days, things like that. Sometimes it gets difficult. I'm working like 12-hour days and things like that. So it definitely weighs on the mental because you really got to want it. You know what I mean? When you're working all day and you still got to go train twice a day. And so, yeah, it gets tiring, but you just got to keep pushing through. So
and I'm going to generally ask this like a fan, I guess, right? When you're in a camp, are you guys going 6 days a week, taking Sunday off then?
Most times, yeah. My team, yeah, we go every day. Sunday, it's supposed to be rest day, but like try to keep it like an active rest day, go on a walk, get the blood flowing a bit. I don't like feeling like a lazy person. Yeah. So I try to just keep active but minimal, And
then the question for both of you guys is that obviously seeing you guys over there in Madera Martial Arts on that Thursday, is that something you guys do normally, that you guys kind of go out and get work in other camps when you're training and preparing, I guess, for an upcoming fight?
Every once in a while. I just, really enjoy going out there.
Shout out to Coach Chris, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. I just like going out there. They're great people, very welcoming every time I go out there, and then quality rounds too. All those guys are awesome.
Yeah, Blaze has been going.
A different look.
No, not Blaze.
Yeah,
Brother Bear.
Brother Bear has been going, but yeah, he had invited me out, and it worked with the work schedule and everything. So I went out there, and it was a really good time, good looks. It's always good to get different looks with sparring days because. You get so accustomed to your teammates and okay, they're going to set this up, or they're going to set this up, and it starts to become predictable. But when you start sparring with different people, it's hard to predict, you know what I mean? So it forces you to think like if you're in an actual fight, obviously in a controlled environment, but, it just brings a different level and elevates you differently.
Yeah, no, like I said, they are very welcoming. That was our first day ever being there. And it's kind of, like I said, getting to know how this has all been working out for us. Obviously, shout out to MLH Media. He hit us up to see if we wanted to do the podcast again, right? So we ended up getting, because we're from out of Farball, right? And we were like, oh, Madera's not that far, so we ended up getting with Coach Chris, and we go out there, and our first time there, and everyone, like you said, was really welcoming. And a matter of fact, shout out to Michael Gomez and to Gabriel Sanchez. That actually, we're going to come on, and they might still come on the podcast. And they were out there telling us like, oh, hey, he's a fighter. Hey, he's a fighter. Hey, he's a fighter. That's when they're like, that's the 135-pound champ for 559. That's the heavyweight champ for 559. And I'm like, so then knowing me, I'm not really the shyest person, right? I try to go be polite. Hey, man, inside the Pablo here, we do a podcast and blah, blah, blah. And that's when we kind of linked up. And then it was just like, well, would you guys be interested? Yeah. And then when we were kind of trying to make it a line, I was like, because remember, we're so new to the podcast game. And so like when we did with Cisco and with Isaiah, we sent them to our studio in Fresno. But then right now our studio in Fresno shut down because the person that runs it, he's actually busy doing other, projects right now. And initially Inside the Pablo started in this room, and I was like, you know what? If I'm going to go out and podcast with them and actually put it out for the people, I know that the audio here works and I know that the video works, and me and my wife know how to really edit it pretty well. So I was like, taking the podcast on such short notice, right? Like a fight. I was like, okay, if I know how to edit it, I know we need to get it out, market you guys, for the fight. Once again, September 27th, 117, 559. These guys are going to be defending, right? Their first time defending your guys' titles. You guys won it back in May. So kind of like the mindset, my favorite question, I kind of get joked around about this. They always ask me like, what's the mindset? But when you guys won your titles back in May, did that kind of change your mindset, or did that make you guys hungrier to kind of like defend this title now? And we'll start with you, Matt, because I saw you ready to jump in already there.
Yeah, it's like, it feels like a target's on your back.
Okay.
Everyone wants what you have, and it's like, you have to go harder now. You have, whatever you were training at prior to you having the belt, it's more. You got to want it more because someone else is wanting it. And I think it's a good thing though, because it takes you to a different level. Amateur titles, this stuff is only getting us ready for pro.
Yeah.
So that way, when we do go pro, we're ready for whatever's to come.
Thank you, Tequila. Appreciate that. And Brother Bear, what about you? Kind of like a.
What was the question again?
No, I was saying. So obviously winning the title back in May, right? Now that you guys have won it, the mindset kind of going and being hungry, like, has that changed your preparation and training now that you are the champ? And now I'm going to kind of copy. I had a podcast come in. His name is Adrian Torres, by the way. Shout out quarterback Kerman this year, senior. He goes, they went from being the hunter to the hunted because they won the Valley Championship. Well, same thing here. You guys have won the championship now. So now you guys are not necessarily the hunter no more. You're the hunted. So has that changed your mindset and how you prepare for the upcoming fight, or just in general fight?
Oh yeah. I've kind of changed everything really. Like, obviously I still have my normal, Monday, Wednesday, Friday trainings, but I've also added in like, boxing practices, how I said, like with the flexibility, mobility, explosive, like type of training. I've also like, got a nutritionist too, like, so I'm even more dialed in with all that. And then like you said, got a target on our back, and I'm doing everything I can, to be prepared and defend those titles.
Well, I liked how you said that, so you jumped into my next question. So you guys are making it easy, bro. It's flowing, right? It's kind of going good. What would you consider yourself kind of like your style of fighting? What would you say your style is? We'll start with you first, Brother Bear, and then we'll go to Tequila.
Well, this guy likes to make a joke and call me a crotch sniffer because I'm a wrestler. But wrestling for sure.
Okay, wrestling background.
Yeah, wrestling background. And then, for sure. My go-to is my wrestling. And then, once I get him down on the ground, I like to punch him in the face.
But you have, all 4 of your fights have been finishes, right?
Yeah.
And so have they been like knockouts, TKO, different on the ground? And
they've all been TKOs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so you would say right now more of a wrestler turning into a mixed martial artist?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to progress every fight.
Okay.
Learn something new, add something new to the arsenal.
For sure. What about you, Tequila?
I would say my style is, I grew up wrestling, but for whatever reason, when I get in there, I think I'm a boxer. And I've never boxed in my life. But I just like going in there and, just having fun, letting go everything that you've got going on. Just let it out. All the tension, just let it out. It's fun, and it feels good. And I just think it's just I just like going in there and having a good time, start swinging. You know what I mean? Give the people a show.
Yeah.
It honestly helps with the pressure of the fight, you know, because there's so much going on. You're like, oh, I don't want to lose. I'm afraid this is embarrassing. It's a very vulnerable sport.
Yeah.
Because you could get really hurt in front of everybody, your friends, the girl you like, somebody. You know?
Yeah.
So what helped with that was just really like, instead of prioritizing how I feel on the outcome, just putting on a show. Because regardless of result, I still want to be someone where they're like, I want to see that full fight again. Like that was a fight right there. You know what I mean? Whether I win or lose. And that's kind of the mentality I have going out there. Obviously, I want to win. The intention is to win. But I just want to go put on a show where people are like, I want to see that guy fight again.
Well, I mean, you're pumping me up right now. I mean, I'm kind of like, okay, you know, and I'm pretty sure everyone out there is like, okay, yeah. But now that you just, once again, thank you for letting me jump into my next question. So obviously we have to train our bodies, right? We have to get ready, get everything physical. But how do we have to get ready mentally? And I'm saying this like for everyone out there too, you know, even other fighters, like how does a fighter prepare mentally for that? Because like you said, it could be like, it's a mental game, right? There's some days where I mean, in general, that's how life is. But as a fighter, how do you stay mentally sharp? And we'll start with you, Tequila, since you're the one that brought it up first.
How do I stay mentally sharp?
We can go off of you first. With you, you don't have to speak for everybody else. But how do you stay mentally sharp?
Just self-belief. I've always never really had too much in myself, and I think that's something that I had to work on. Like you were saying, it's very important in the fight game. You know, if you go in there and you're not mentally there, you're gonna get hurt or you're gonna lose. And sometimes, you know, the guy might not be a better fighter than you, but he was a better fighter that night because he was there that night mentally. You know what I mean? And there shouldn't be an excuse as to why you're not there mentally. Whatever's going on outside, you have to like zone it out. You know, especially come fight week. You know, you can't be dealing with other stuff going on. You have to like really lock in because this guy's coming to hurt you. You know, it's not like any other sport where it's a game. We're not playing a game. Like, we're fighting.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, you have to have this mentality of like, I got to go out there and do what I got to do. And yeah, you got to be there. You got to be there mentally. You just got to tell yourself that you're doing enough. Well, you have to be doing enough first. You know what I mean? You know in yourself if you felt like you trained hard enough and you were there putting in the time every single day. And that also helps with your mental preparation, knowing that you did everything you possibly could. And yeah.
Because I was going to say, like, obviously, when you work out, you're going to do the cardio and you're going to do the difference to make you faster and make you stronger. But how do you mentally prepare when you're in camp? I'm saying in camp.
Journaling, probably, you know, writing down, going through the scenes in your head, honestly, like it's watching tape. You know what I mean? Like, okay, this guy's going to open with this. I know that I'm going to block here, boom, boom. You know what I mean? There's just different ways to go out about it so that way you're mentally prepared, mentally there. And then talk good to yourself. You know what I mean? I feel like everyone has negative thoughts about themselves, and sometimes that can corrupt your mind. So remembering to reassure yourself and tell yourself you're a good person, you're doing good, you're doing the right things. You know what I mean? But you have to be doing the right things, obviously. You can't be lying to yourself.
Yes, sir.
But you just got to be more nice to yourself, and then you'll feel better, and then you'll become a better person.
I could tell how you became a champ, bro. Because prior, you could attest to this. When we were doing the pre-interview, he was quiet. And now look at him. He's out here. He's talking. He's getting ready. Like when the lights come on, he's ready to put on a show. So I'm excited to see how you're going to perform. Remember again, September 27th, 117. I'm excited to see how you're going to do your first title defense.
Thank you.
But same question to you, Brother Bear. How do you stay mentally sharp? Like obviously you broke down the cardio game and the physical, but how do you keep yourself mental? Obviously being a father of 4, and just how do you stay sharp? What do you do?
Honestly, I feel like I really don't overthink it. You know. I have a lot going on outside of, this, and like, Matt was saying, like,
Tequila.
Self confidence. Like, I know I've put in the work, I've put in the time, and pretty confident, in like how I prepare with, Ochoa. Like I said, like, when we're in there, we prepare to fight. So like we do hard sparring rounds, and so I don't feel like I am nervous, to go in there and fight. And then also before the fight, like, it's like brings me back to my wrestling days, put on the big old headphones, music, blast it. I pace, I stretch, I mentally get myself ready once, that weigh-ins date comes in. I'm really like zoned out.
Some people call it like tunnel vision.
That's exactly how it feels, just really locked in. I kind of, get a little quiet, And then especially when we show up at the building at 4:00,
Now, on fight night.
Yeah, fight night.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, I tell everyone, like, even the guys that I train with, like, don't go there, to talk and bullshit or anything. Like, pop your headphones on,
Business.
do what you got to do, lock in. I listen to a lot of, especially, that like music that gets me going is like Tech Nine, artists like that, gets me really dialed in. And I find myself pacing, stretching out, getting loose, and then hit the pads, get a nice little sweat going. And I can't really sit down back there. I try, but the only time I'm really sitting down is to kind of stretch, get ready, get loose before that fight. I'm a little older.
Not too old, but you're a little older.
Yeah.
Obviously, the youngster here, 23, 29, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to say my age, but late 30s. But no, I mean, it's been, the reason I ask those questions is because honestly, like, I generally can come in, I sit here as a podcaster, like, I don't know yet. Like when we first started, you guys told me, I was asking that, okay, what are we going to talk about? I want to generally, like, out there, people that are getting to know you guys, like you guys are regular people, bro. Refrigeration and cutting hair and being a bouncer. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, on Saturday nights, especially September 27th, 117, you guys are going to be out there defending your title. You guys are going to have that different mindset. You're going to go from being a regular food reviewer, bro, to an actual fighter, from a bouncer to a fighter, from a father of four that just watched the movie to, now you're going to go out there and you're considered technically the best amateur in the state. Yeah. And California is a big state. That's not something small to, and once again, both you guys very humble, and like I said, every fighter I've come across, very humble, good people. And I think that, and I'm tying into my next question, and my next thing is, this podcast has been based off of, like I tell you guys, man, it's been my relationship with the Lord. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. And I don't try to force it on anybody, the Lord is a gentleman. But that's my next question to you, and I'll start with you, Tequila. What's your relationship like with the Lord?
I think it needs to be better. My family is Catholic, super Catholic. I'm Catholic. And I know sometimes I stray away from it, and I shouldn't be I'm not as active in it as I want to be. But I think that's something I'm working towards. Especially in this fight game, sometimes I feel like you can really get caught up in vanity and things like that, when you're at the top of the top and, you're getting pictures and you're like, oh, I'm looking cool, and all this stuff. You could get really full of yourself,
Yeah.
And you don't feel grounded. And then it's just super important to keep religion intact, to keep you grounded, so that way, all these temptations that are being thrown your way don't overcome you, and then you become that.
Yeah.
So I'm still growing in my faith, and I'm just want to be a better Catholic. As
we all are. What about you, Brother Bear?
Definitely need more work on it. Like Matt said, need some work.
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this again. My favorite Bible verse, right? I'm gonna tie it in. I try to tie it in every podcast, but in this one, it's just kind of setting up perfect. Isaiah 60:22. When the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen. So, kind of like learning in my faith, just remember, it's all about timing. The Lord is a gentleman. The way you guys train, think of it the way you guys train, man. Look how much you're dedicated to that. Come to the Lord as you are, 350 pounds, right? You weren't the champ then. You kind of had to work at it real hard. Yeah. It's a daily relationship. Pick up your cross and take one step. And so as you do that in time, the way you guys are both becoming the champions that you are and the future that you guys have. And actually, I honestly both, I'm not going to say that just because you're here on my podcast, meeting you guys in Madera, meeting you guys today, talking to you guys, I really do see a big, bright future for you guys. And the same thing, like in your relationship with the Lord, it just starts off small, man. And it's my journey is going to be different than yours and then different than his, vice versa. So just know that all he wants to know is he just wants your heart. He just wants to know that, just a relationship with you. And I don't make it about religion. It's more about relationship. I'm not telling people, because, people out there come at me with, don't tell me. I'm not saying not to go to church. I'm not saying not to be this part of church. I'm just saying, go to know the Lord. And then from there, he will guide your steps. But no, it's been like a real pleasure kind of having you both on. Is there anything that you guys kind of want to touch on that as this part one goes? Because I definitely want to bring you guys on for your one-on-ones, and then we'll kind of more open up to get to know who you guys are as fighters and as people, right? But is there anything else you guys want to touch on that we kind of like have missed? Because it's been kind of good so far. I think we flowed in pretty good. How do you guys feel?
Yeah, I feel good. I just want to give a shout out to my family, my team, for getting me ready. Love my team, love my family. They became another family to me, honestly, at Crisp over there in Visalia. Everyone in there.
What's your team's name?
My team's name, Crisp MMA.
Oh, what is it?
Crisp.
Crisp. Okay, I thought you were saying Chris.
Yeah, Crisp
Okay,
MMA.
Crisp MMA out of Visalia.
In Visalia.
Okay.
Yeah. Bunch of dogs in there, all fighters. You know, it's we all hang out. It's cool. You know, it really is a family. When we show up to weigh-ins, we all show up together. You know what I mean? When you show up to go face off against your opponent, and you look and you see your whole squad just right there lined up cheering you on and stuff. It's a great feeling. You could really feel the love, and everyone's just trying to uplift each other, and I just love that stuff. It means a lot to me.
Nice. Okay. And what about you, Brother Bear?
Shout out to, my team, my family, my friends, everyone that supported me throughout this, short journey so far. The sponsors too. They've helped out a lot, as of late.
Yeah. No. You talk about short. I mean, you just started. Technically, you're barely hit a year. I mean, we're September of 25. You started it in July, just getting back into shape, and then now a year later, look at you. You're the champ of 559. You're technically the best amateur in the state, and you're defending your first title on September 17th. I mean, September 27th, 117. And but the Visalia Convention Center, and same thing with you, Matt. I mean, you won your title back in May, right? Your first title defense, 135. And that's all I was going to ask you guys. I guess the next question is, do you guys ever feel like when you have your opponent coming up, do you have to study the opponent, or you just have to get ready in camp? And
it's a mixture of both. I don't want to overstudy my opponent and overanalyze things and start worrying about things, because at the end of the day, I want to make it my fight. I want to implement the things that I want to implement. I'm not worried about what he's going to implement so much, because then that's letting him dictate the fight, and I don't want to fight that fight. I want to dictate the fight, the pace that the fight goes at, and it'll be my fight. That's the way to look at it, in my opinion.
And then what about you?
Yeah, I do my fair share of studying, but for the most part, I just try to get as ready as I can be. Whether in my sparring, my cardio, for sure cardio. I don't want to when that time does come. When I do
have to go out of the first round,
I don't want it to be because I'm,
you gassed out.
If it happens, gas out. That's the last thing I need. And right now I feel like my cardio is really good. So it's something that I prioritize.
So I'm going to ask you then. So I'm going to ask both of you guys, what can the fans expect September 27th from MTV, Matthew, Tequila, Vargas?
Just a dog fight. I'm ready to go out there and bang. I'm just excited to go in there. I haven't fought since May. I feel like I got a lot of just tension. I'm ready to just get it cracking. That's it. I'm ready to just get it. Like I told you before, I want to defend my title. I want to win the fight, but I'm in there to have a good time. I'm ready to go in there just to scrap. I'm excited. I'm happy that I'm healthy and I'm able to do what I love, and I'm grateful for that. Grateful for like I said, my team, my family, everything. So I'm just want to go show out for them.
I like that. And what about you, Brother Bear? What can the fans expect on September 27th, 117?
He's going to go like this.
That's for the main event. What can the fans expect that you're going to bring?
I want to put on a show. I've been working a lot on my stand-up, my striking. I still work on my jiu-jitsu, my wrestling, my grappling, my ground game and all that. That's where I feel most comfortable. This one, I think I want to go in there. I want to test myself, do a little bit more stand-up than usual. Can't guarantee it, but, because everyone's in my first fight, I didn't even expect it, but, I just shot, boom, took him down, and then we ended up on the ground. But, I really do want to test my hands. I want to go in there and test myself.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's going to be our second event, right? So the first one was really fill it out. And kind of, I had never really been in that environment. Like I said, I was fortunate enough to work for Big Dog for their event, but I worked it. I didn't really get to sit back and watch the fights. I Fight for the Fallen. I got to see but it's boxing, a little different, right? Yeah. I kind of worked it too, but I actually got to watch the fights. Then with the 116, 559 116, I got to actually worked it a little bit, but I didn't really, I interviewed in the end. But I really got to I wasn't really myself yet, because I was still kind of think about it. I guess, how are you guys your first fight pretty sure was a little
Nerve-wracking.
nervous and,
nervous.
feeling it out and just kind of pretty sure getting to the arena. And, same thing. We didn't know where to park, right? We never been there. I was lost. I was like, oh, man, I'm going to be late. Like I remember walking in and I had saw Lost Boy. And I didn't even tell him what's up. I felt like, and I wasn't like as a disrespecting. It was more like, where do I go? Who do I do? I only recognized him because of the prior events, and then I was following each other. But so I was like, hey, my bad, Lost Boy. I mean, I'm usually to tell everybody what's up. So this one I should probably go, and I'll be a little bit more loose. I'll actually kind of know what to expect. This will be my second one, so we'll be there. Cool. Like I tell everybody, the last guys we podcast with, win or lose, think of it like we still want to be able to get you guys like a post interview.
That's cool.
Just to kind of go over the fact that one, like I said, life is not, if we're going to go off of wins and losses in life, let's just be honest, I'm going to have to quote scripture, like a righteous man falls 7 times and continues to get back up. So I don't feel like it should be that way. It should go off of like, I can never, and what I'm learning too about the fight game is like, I say, oh, which I'm always will be a fan of Matt and of Robert, but it's like, one day you may be fighting a guy that I podcasted with as well. So I just say, be blessed, right? Yep. Because at the end of the day, being in this game and wanting to podcast with all these different fighters, like you guys said, we said this prior, I told you guys off camera. I was like, when I'm meeting all the fighters, like, I'm not saying I'm expecting them to be jerks, but everyone's been so kind. Like, it's almost been like a little like shocking, like, wow, like too kind, like even meeting both of you guys, look at like, we met Thursday, you're here on a Sunday. I mean, it just kind of like, and when we met, I mean, hopefully I was trying to be as welcoming as I could, and thank you guys for coming out. Thanks for having us. Short notice and then coming out from where you guys came from. So these guys came from Hanford, we live in Faribault. So that just shows the testament to one, you guys being champions and wanting to get your guys stuff out there and vice versa for us. Like, we don't take anything lightly. Like I tell you guys, I mean this in the most humble way possible. As big as this podcast grows, I want to continue to do this. Like I said, this is where the way you said you get the joy and you guys get the joy in getting in there and the training. Like, this is my training right now. Like, when I put the headphones on, I don't really get as nervous. Like, I get excited. Like, okay, it's time to like really. And then even seeing you, like, we're talking out there and you're boom. I see you. The lights come on and you're boom. You're not being as shy. And I was like, oh shoot, like Matt's not scared of the light. So now I'm really excited to see when you fight 117.
Man, it's still nerve wracking. You just got to be there mentally. I wanted to ask you something.
Yeah, talk to me. What's up?
If you like, say you were a fighter and you're gonna walk out for your fight, what would your walkout song be? Because that's a super important thing, like for certain people.
I think if I'm gonna go off a worldly song, I think I'll go Mac Dre on Emotion.
Okay.
Right? Because it's just like it pumps me up, the little beat,
Get you going.
right? Boom, go in there. If I'm gonna go off of like the way I'm thinking currently, like more of like a scripture, I would say there's a song called Oceans, and it's like, and I'll play it to you guys after. Yeah, it's more like a worship song. So I think I would, but then I just depends on where I'm at mentally, right? Yeah. If I was a fighter, I don't know if I would, it depends on my journey of how I became a fighter, right? Yeah, true. So I would say like, okay, thank you for jumping that question to me. Now I could ask to you guys. Do you guys have a song picked out for the event?
So my first song was my first couple ones was a Backyard Boogie by Mac 10.
Okay.
Get your boogie on.
Like, nice. There you go.
One. I had a Rough Riders Anthem and by DMX. Mm-hmm. And this one's going to be Get Low. To the windows, to the walls.
Okay. That's the song for this event.
For this one, yeah.
And then if you don't mind, well, now that you brought it up, right? So if you don't mind me asking, what made you pick that song?
As a kid, my mom would play that song and I would just start dancing wherever I was. And I was listening to it the other day. I was like, dude, this song is still... it's just a banger.
Yeah.
So I was just
Lil Jon?
Yeah, Lil Jon. And just to the windows, to the walls, man. Okay. Just keep I like it. I like it. So
all right. Respect. And what about you, Brother Bear? What song are you gonna come out to?
It's the same one I've had the last 4 fights.
Okay.
Very superstitious. So if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
So Tech 9, Bad Juju.
Tech 9.
That's been my song since, I want to say like 20 something. Like, it was like right before COVID. I came across it at the gym, and it's been my like PR song ever since then. Like, when I want to hit a big lift or anything, like, just to get me going. That's the song that I, put on.
Okay.
Really, really pumped up.
I got it. I mean, I apologize. I got to hear it to remind myself. But once I put it on, I'll text you and I'll be like, all right, yeah, I remember. Obviously, Get Low is like a,
Everyone knows Backyard Boogie.
yeah. I remember Backyard Boogie
Yeah,
for sure.
that's a classic, right?
No, that is a good one. And I kind of, it gets interesting as far as like, I mean, and I guess I'll touch on it as I'm trying to flow in the conversation too. I'm trying to think, okay, we've pretty much touched on all the topics, you know, and I don't want it, like I said, this is mainly to promote your guys' fight.
Yeah.
And obviously when we do a podcast, a one-on-one, and it'll be a little different, you know, like, cause I could touch, there's certain questions I want to ask now in my head, but I'm like, no, we said we weren't going to touch on those yet.
Yeah.
So I'll wait until we can do the one-on-ones. Right. But, and I think like, as we're flowing in and I'm seeing you guys, like I wanted to ask like about when you brought up the music, right? I want to go back into mindset. So like on actual fight night, but you guys kind of already touched on it a little bit. Well, at least you did. Like, how do you get like a day of fight night? Like he said, he's gonna go in there. He put the headphones on. Are you the same way or?
I get super nervous. I actually have my dad in my corner.
Okay.
Super important to have my dad in my corner because as a kid wrestling, it was like he was the guy that hyped me up. You know, he'd hit my headgear on the side of my head like, "Hey, mijo, it's time to wake up, wake the heck up," you know. And I could be losing the match, and then I would, you know, he would just tears coming down my eyes, and I would go and I'd pin the kid. But because there's just like something internally that just goes off when he gets on me. And it's like, that's why I like having him in my corner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just something that comes out. I did said in an interview before, it's like the inner Hulk. You know, everybody has that inner Hulk inside them that's just like, you know, caged in.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it comes out and it just feels like an explosion. You know what I mean? You just take it out on whatever it is. And that's what I try to apply in my fights. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that's why I'm so grateful for fighting is because it allows me to do that and I'm not going to get in trouble for it. You know what I mean? Some people let out that feeling, that inner Hulk, and it's does something bad to somebody else or people who don't deserve, you know, to be treated like that or something, you know, like,
yeah.
You know, so it's just, yeah, circling back to having my dad in my corner, that's part of my...
well, because if you think about it, most times if you're violent in the world, you're going to get in trouble.
Exactly.
Right? And then you guys
get to fight, you can do it, you know.
You guys got to go be violent for X amount of rounds, for X amount of minutes, for, you know, for X amount of time.
Just because, you know, because you like to, you know. But yeah, that's why I like how that's part of getting ready is having my dad in my corner for sure. My coach, Darren, DC, he also is another person who's like able to like, he always says,
you got to watch out when you say DC in the fight game. People are going to think Daniel Cormier.
Yeah, Darren Crisp. He's like, it's not a dream. Wake the heck up. You know, wake up. It's not a dream. Because when you're walking out there and you see the lights, it low-key feels like a dream.
Really?
Yeah, it's super bright lights. And then all you're seeing is your opponent. You're like, all right, it's about to go down right now. And doors about to close, everything. So he's like, wake up. It's not a dream. You know, he can get me hyped up. My dad can get me hyped up. So the combo of those two, it just gets the gears going. And I'm like, all right, it's fight time. Let's go.
Because, I mean, I was there that first fight. There's a lot of fans. Do you guys hear the crowd or do you just, like we talked about tunnel vision, or are you just so tunnel vision you don't hear nothing?
Yeah, like, honestly, it's like, you know, back in my wrestling matches, I couldn't hear anyone, like, you know, in the crowd, but I'd hear my coach. You know, I hear Jacob, I hear Mito. And it's crazy because, like, Mito's, like, kind of the calmer one, like, you know, I can hear his calm voice. It's crazy. Like I've heard him in a couple, and then Jacob, he's a little bit louder. I hear him too. But yeah, like I want to say, like I hear the crowd in the beginning for sure. I try not to pay too much attention to it. Like you said, tunnel vision coming out. You know, I'm ready. I'm hyped. You know, get into that cage. I'm pacing. You know, I'm ready to go. And then at the end, that's when I hear the crowd. You know, and the ref has, you know, intervened, and then that's when, you know, I go to my celebration. It's, you know, I blow kisses to the crowd, show them love.
Nice. Okay. See, I mean, once again, and that's why when we confirmed actually today, 559 reached out to me and was asking if we're going to go to the fight, and I said, well, yeah, because I knew we were going to podcast with you guys. Like I said, I'm still trying to get Michael and Gabriel on, and if we can get them on, obviously then I'll promote 4 of the fighters and they're all going to be on the event. But this time around it's going to be a little different because I'm not going to be, I was nervous. The first one, I'm going to be honest, like, and when I interview, like, I don't think of, like, obviously right here, I wrote a little notes for us because I wanted to make sure that it flows in, right? But I'm asking questions off the top of the dome, especially like when I did Cisco live right there at on the 5 when I just did, hey, you know, because he talked about fireworks in August, right? So that's kind of been my little saying, like, you know, I'm assuming based off of both the way you guys are talking, we're going to have fireworks in September. So I think when I go in there, we kind of talked a little bit off, and when we continue to talk through up the course of the fight, I'll kind of have an idea of what to ask, because hearing what you said today and then hearing what you said, I'll see how you guys both apply it in your fight. And then if it's something that we, but hey, you talked about it on the podcast and you kind of did everything you said you were going to do. But it's kind of cool because I get to see you guys are my third and fourth fighter. So I get to really see the different mindsets, the different backgrounds, and how reality, you guys, just all comes in. It all kind of ties into the same thing, but it's all different, if that makes sense, So it's kind of, and obviously working in the field I used to work in prior, we're all men, I mean, I know we're different races here, because I mean, you honestly look like you could be Mexican, bro, even though I know you're native, right?
I get Mexican or Samoan a lot.
Yeah, so it's like, but I tell people, like, us being Mexican, right, kind of comes from, and you growing up in the same area, so we all come from like similar backgrounds, similar cultures, right? But you kind of walk into in a prison setting, and this is some different kind of, I'm gonna try to tie this into the fight thing. You walk into like a prison or a jail setting, it's all these different cultures, bro, that have to follow the same rules, but they're all different. And same thing with fighting, like we all gonna get into the cage, and it's gonna be for an X amount of time. Both you guys have the same goal, is to take that person out. But at the end of the day, after the fight, everyone shakes hands and you kind of go their separate way. Because like you said, it allows you to be that kind of that Hulk or that crazy person for that X amount of time legally. Mm-hmm. And then you go back to being Matt, to Robert, to Tequila, to Brother Bear, right? It's more calm. Because obviously you being a family man, you're a father of 4. Mm-hmm. And you having a family and you being involved, like you guys are not ruthless people, but to be able, like you say, a lot of people, and that's why when I want to tie this in, a lot of people out there have that rage, bro, and they don't know how to control it. They have to go to, some people have anger management problem. They have to go to classes. Some people have this. Maybe everyone that's out there watching this can maybe join an Ochoa, join a Crisp MMA that are in the area or in Fresno, and they can go, who knows? Maybe they're the next guy fighting for a 559 title, right? And I think that's the whole point of this podcast, is that everyone out there is more alike than we think. And the one thing I will say is that I've learned is you generally don't know what someone is going through. Generally, like you can tell me what you want to tell me. You can tell me what you want to tell me. But when you go home and you close that door and you're in that room alone, like you're battling you. Yeah. You're battling you. I'm battling me. And I think that's the kind of cool thing about the podcast, is at least allows you in this sense. Like I said, when we do the more of the one-on-one, more about the person, you can kind of let that version of it out. And those feelings out, but in this sense, it's just more about the fight. And I want people to understand, like, you because I mean, you did the meet and greet yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Well, you were busy working?
I was out of town.
Okay. Yeah. Like, bro, people went out there to meet you guys. Mm-hmm. Like you guys are a big deal in the Valley. And I want to make sure that I highlight that for future fighters, for everyone. And like I said, I want to continue to remain humble as we grow. I want to make sure I continue to do this, because I also told you we do the Friday night. The football mm-hmm. for the different schools. Mm-hmm. All these kids, there's a Robert out there, there's a Matthew out there, that are playing football, that will probably go into wrestling next, right? And then we just had Coach Moreno on. He coached Fireball, and now he's coaching Fresno City Wrestling. So there's probably a Matt on the Fresno City team, and there's probably a Robert on the Fresno City team that, who knows, maybe one day they're going to be future 559 champs, and we'll have them on the podcast. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole point of this. And once again, I think we're kind of there on time. And is there anything else you guys want to touch on before we end?
Just want to say thank you for having us.
No, thank you guys for coming on.
Pretty cool experience.
Yeah, I thought we flowed the way we wanted to, right?
Yeah,
everything we kind of touched on, and we said it went really good. And it's easy when you have people that come on and they want to like lock in. Like I said, I saw when the lights came on, so now I'm really excited to see the fight. Both of you guys, like it's kind of cool. But all right, guys, so we tie it in with every podcast. Start with the Bible verse. We end the same Bible verse. Today's verse came from Philippians 4:19. And this same God who takes care of me will supply all your needs from his glorious riches, which have been given to us in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:19. And with that being said, I want to thank Matthew Tequila Vargas, MTV, and Robert Big Bear Barrios, heavyweight champ.
Brother Bear. That's Brother Bear.
Brother Bear. What did I say?
Big Bear.
Why did I say Big Bear? Brother Bear. Robert Brother Bear Barrios, big brother to Matt right here, neighbors, best friends pretty much. I want to thank you guys for coming on. And remember, guys, September 27th, 559 fights, 117. And these guys will be right here headlining it. And the third fight, fighting for, there'll be 4 title fights, right?
Yeah.
4 title fights that night. It's at the Visalia Convention Center. So check these guys out. We'll be right there, and come say hello to us. So thank you guys once again for stopping by.
Yeah. Peace.
All right, man. We'll talk soon.